What's up, everybody? This is Zach, and this is the first video in a series of videos that I'm gonna do on how I draw portraits. And in this first video, I'm gonna be showing you guys the general proportions of the face, and then I'm also gonna be talking to you about a couple things that I've learned along the way that have really helped me improve my portrait drawing. So let's get started, and I will show you guys the general proportions of the face. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do when I'm wanting to draw a portrait is I'm going to start off with a circle. And it doesn't have to be perfect, just a loose circle. Something like that will do. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to draw a straight line down the center. Okay. And this is going to be the center of the face. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this circle in half. So it'd be about right there, and I'm going to draw a straight line across. Now I'm going to mark this line. I'm going to put over here to the side. This is the eye line. This is the line our eye is going to go on. And then if we take this line, or this point, from the bottom, we're going to divide that in half, so about right here. And this is going to be our nose line. And then to take this point from the bottom, divide that in half. That's going to be roughly where the mouth is going to be. Alright, so after I've done that, now I have the face. I've got some general lines to help me locate where the certain parts of the face need to be. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add in the jaw line and the chin. So the way I usually do this, and again this will vary on different people. This is just kind of a general generic face based upon these kind of general rules. So I'm going to start at the nose line, and I'm going to kind of go down, and it doesn't matter what angle you do this at. Again, everybody's different. Some people have round faces, some people have really square faces. Doesn't matter, just do it how you want to do it, or even have a mirror in front of you and maybe even try to draw your own face. So I'm going to start with this angle, this first angle, and I'm going to go down, and then once I hit the bottom of that circle, or somewhere around that, I'm going to cut into the second angle. Okay? And then, you can kind of put the chin down here on the bottom, have that meet over. And then kind of, just correct it a little bit. Okay, so now that I have the general shape of the head, I'm going to start cleaning up these lines. So, darken up the lines that I want to keep, so that way I can come in here and erase the lines that I don't want to keep. Don't erase these guidelines though, keep those in there. Alright, there we go. Now we have the general shape of the face. We have our eyes are going to be here, our nose, and then our mouth, or at least the upper lip. The upper lip is going to go here. And then usually the bottom lip will be somewhere around here, depending, again, it all depends on who the person is you're drawing. But that's the upper lip, that's the tip of the nose, and then this is typically the center of the eyes. Some people do it differently. Some people do the eyes on top of the line or below the line. I usually do the eyes on top of the line. And then some people also, what they'll do is they'll come up here and they'll just, chop off that section right there, and then they can erase that, and then that will be their hairline. So that's where they'll start drawing out the hair. I usually don't do that. I usually just kind of go with the flow of it and kind of just use my eyes and kind of eyeball it. But yeah, so this is the general proportions of the face, and now I'll add a couple more lines. Now, generally speaking, for the placement of the eyes, like how big the eyes are going to be, or the width of the eyes, typically what most people do is they'll take it and they'll divide here from here into 5 separate sections. Now, I mean, if you want to do that, you can, you can get a ruler. It's 2. I don't, 2 divided by 5, and then you can figure out what that is. Something quick that I do if I'm not really trying to draw a specific person, a general rule of thumb that I've come across is, whenever I've studied people in different faces, that typically the corner of the eye is going to be about yay far away from the side of the head. Something like that. And then a very, it's a pretty important general rule, but it can be changed up a little bit. And that is that the distance between the eyes should be equal to the width of one of the eyes. So take that and kind of, something like that. So we can see that these are equal parts, and I may scoot that in. Scoot that in just a little bit. Okay. And then as far as the height of the eyes go, I mean, again, it's completely up to the person. We'll just say that this person's eyes, the top of the eyes are right here, and then the bottom of the eyes are right here. And this is another thing that, again, it can be changed. I would be careful, though, with altering the distance between the eyes. That's one of those things that if you are going to alter and change it a little bit, I would just be careful not to do it too much, because it will very, very drastically change the look of the person's face. And then the nose, and this is how I usually do the eyes. I usually box them in, because not only does this help me visualize the eyeballs, it helps me visualize how the eyes are going to look before actually drawing the eyes. Because I mean, it could take, you could spend up to like 10 minutes to 20 minutes on one eye if you're wanting to go for super realism. And it would really stink to do that just to figure out that you actually don't want the eyes that big. So I just box them in. And then the second purpose of this is that it also it acts as kind of a little, a grid box almost. Because like, let's say if I draw the eye like this, I can, judge that and say, okay, so I can help draw that, instead of actually trying to draw the eye, I'm just going to draw the spaces. So I can see that there's this big of a space. So I can come down like that, and then I see over here there's that big of a space. So I come like that, and then, so on and so forth. And it helps you transfer the eye over a lot quicker than just trying to eyeball it. And then now for the nose. For the nose, it's going to be from the inside of the corner of the eye. So right here, where this box is, you draw straight down to the nose line. And that's generally how wide the nose is going to be. However, different people have different styles. For instance, Disney, whenever they draw their female characters, the noses are usually pretty small, and then usually the men's noses are sometimes a little bit bigger. So this is just a general rule of thumb to kind of help you get started. So you want to draw that in. And then for the mouth, how wide the mouth is going to be, you're going to take it from the pupil down. So, there's, I'll just put a little dot and let's just pretend that's the pupil. So you go like straight down, and that's a general area of where the mouth is going to be. So that's going to be the left corner of the mouth and the right corner of the mouth. And that's usually about it. And this is a good starting point for the inside of the face. Again, if you want to keep this line up here, that's up to you. I normally just eyeball it because, I've just learned different things, and people have different hairlines, different hairstyles, and I don't know, to me it just works better. Okay, so now we're going to look at the one more proportions. I'm going to erase this real quick, and then we'll look at where the ears are going to go. Okay, so now that I got that erased, I can show you the proportions of the ears. Now, when drawing the ears, the ears are generally, the top of the ears are going to usually be, and again, the ears are a very, very difficult thing to kind of line out general proportions because everyone has different ears. But generally speaking, the ears are going to be just above the eye line. So here's the eye line right here. So the ears are going to be anywhere from here to here, somewhere around this area. Again, everyone's different. So let's just say right here is the ear line. Ear at the top, and then it'll go to the nose line. So ear and the bottom. Okay, and so somewhere the ear, the ear will go somewhere in this direction, and something like that. And again, that's very, very, everyone has different ears. But generally speaking, that's a good place to start when you're just practicing and trying to draw portraits from imagination and just coming up with new characters. Okay, so real quick, I just want to use this drawing that I did as an example. I just want to talk to you real quick about a couple things that I learned along the way that have really helped improve the quality of my portraits. And the first really important thing, and this is the most important thing for any subject that you're drawing, whether it be people, animals, architecture, cars, whatever. The most important thing is to study the subjects that you're drawing before you draw. Start learning about the objects that you're wanting to draw. For instance, with portraiture, go to Google Images and just search for portraits, or man's face or woman's face. Start studying the differences between a man's face and a woman's face. Start studying the differences between how does the face change as the age of a person gets older. What's the difference between a baby's face and a toddler's face, or a teenager's face and an adult person's face in their late 20s. How does the face change when the person's in their 60s and 70s. Learning all these little details is really going to help your drawings stand out, and it's going to help improve the realism of your drawings. And the second thing that's really, really important, in all drawing, but especially with portraiture, is don't use too many dark outlines, because really in anything you draw, you're not going to see too many hard outlines, except like with architecture and stuff like that. But when it comes to like natural stuff in nature, like animals and people, you're never going to see a dark black outline around the parts of the face. Notice how with this nose, I built it up with shading, and notice how, especially with the mouth, that it's so crucial that when you're drawing the mouth, you don't use dark outlines. For this mouth right here, literally all I did was I drew a line for the top lip, a line for the bottom of the bottom lip, and then a small light line right here, so that I knew where to place my shading. And I just tried building up with shading. That's literally all I did, was just add some shading under here, and it completely built that bottom lip. With the ears, I didn't do, a lot of hard lines. I kept it really soft. And that's really, really important with portraiture. It's really, really important. Don't use too many outlines. When you, think about it like this. When you draw a portrait, there's probably only going to be around 25% of the drawing is actually going to be hard line. And then the remaining 75%, it's going to be all shading. Shading is absolutely huge with portraiture. So you practice your shading, get to be where you, and understand where to put the shading too. Like understand the form of the face, the bone structure. And that's another thing, it's all those little things. They seem really little, but when you start adding all these little things together, they come together and you can make a really realistic portrait with them. So it's very, very important. And then I guess the third thing would be is also know where your highlights are. Right now, I do a lot of drawing on toned tan paper. So, I use a white Prismacolor color pencil for all my highlights. But if you're drawing on white paper, you would just leave it blank or erase it or whatever. But pay attention to where the highlights go. That's another very important thing. Because that, having your shadows and your highlights is it's really going to increase the the depth of your drawing, and it's going to make it look really, really good. And that's not just for portraiture, that's for all drawings. Yeah, those are three things that I think will really, really help you out in starting to learn how to draw portraiture, or to maybe improve on your portraiture. But yeah, like I said, this is the first video in the series, so I'm also going to do a video on like how to draw the eyes, like a video just on how to draw eyes, a video on how to draw the nose, the mouth, hair. I'm going to go into detail. So this was just a really, really quick introductory drawing that I did, or a really quick introductory video about the portrait drawing. But yeah, if you want to see more of my artwork, you can check me out on Facebook. I will post the link to my art Facebook page down below. And then also you can find me on an application called Art Amino. I believe it's available for Android. I believe it's available in the App Store for iOS. It's an awesome app. It's basically like Instagram, but for artists. It's a super cool app, and you can find me on there. I will post the link to that down below too. I mean, if you're an artist, I can't recommend Art Amino enough. It's such a huge help for me. It's so cool. I'll post the link to that below, and that's actually where I post the majority of my artwork, is on Art Amino, because it is just a huge art community. But yeah, that's about it for this first video. So if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you're not subscribed to my channel already, feel free to do so. It's completely free to subscribe. All it means is that you're going to get notified whenever I upload content in the future. Let me know how I can improve on my videos down below, or if you have any questions or an idea for a future video, whether it be like a how-to video or whatever. Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you in the next video.